that the Lord has a word to give to his people today. I was in a battle over this word, y'all. I labored for this one, mainly because it's not what I would normally do. It isn't. It's not a complete exegesis or a complete breakdown of the text as I normally would do. I actually literally have. Yeah, some of y'all know. Y'all might as well keep standing because you know I'm going to the word. I literally have one verse to read to you today. Just one verse. And the Lord has given me what is more so a prophetic word than an actual sermon for you today. And so I pray that you receive it as he gave it. Elder, you know I labored for this. I pray that you receive it as he gave it. If you are ready for the word, just shout, Lord, I'm ready. Yeah, somebody didn't say nothing. Shout one more time, Lord, I'm ready. Amos, the 9th chapter, verse 13. The ESV version says this. It says, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman, and the planter by the one treading grapes. New wine will drip from the mountains and flow from all the hills. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman and the planter by the one treading grapes. New wine will drip from the mountains and flow from all the hills. Before you take your seats, look at somebody and say, it's harvest time. Come on, tell your other neighbor because they didn't receive it. Tell them it is harvest time. And before I say another thing, if you just receive it, can you receive it with gladness? It's harvest time. It's harvest time. It's harvest time. It's harvest time. Real quick, look at somebody and say, I got seed in the ground. Come on, just some of you who have been sowing a long time, look at somebody and say, I got seed in the ground. For some of you, your seed was money, but for some of you, your seed was your tears. I got seed in the ground. You can't sow forever. You can't sow forever. There's gotta be a reaping season. We're going to get through this. 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 We're going to get through y'all. Sit down. Sit down. So, thank you, Jesus. Over the last few weeks, we have spoken about soil. We have talked about the seed. We have spoken about stewardship. But it would be an incomplete series if we discuss labor and we never got to reward. Yeah, what farmer scatters seed, tends to the ground, but does not expect a crop as a result of his stewardship. And so I believe that this month has been challenging for some. particularly those who possibly were confronted with the reality that the Lord was requiring more from you. But I think that there is another group of people in this room who have no problem sowing seed. They have no problem watering and tending to the soil. They are good stewards over what the Lord has given to them. But the difficulty for them is not in any of those things. The difficulty for this person is believing that the Lord of the harvest will bless them to reap what has been sown. Yeah. There are some of us who are not struggling with the labor. We're actually struggling with the idea of the reward. Somehow we still have the mentality that we are slaves of God and not sons of God. And so it's okay to labor for him, but not to receive from him. Or we're willing to just receive enough just to get by. But I declare that today we break the cycle of living beneath your privilege and living on the outskirts of your inheritance. There are some things that my children have access to just because they're my kids. They don't have to ask for it. They don't have to beg for it. Watch this. Most things they don't even have to work for, but because they are connected to me, because they are in my care, they get it just because I'm their father. And so for those of you who are struggling with the idea of being blessed, I need to remind you of who your father is. He said, I'm a good father and I know how to give good gifts to my children, but you actually got to show up to receive the gift. Look at somebody and say, show up, show up. I have somebody right now who bought me a Christmas gift, but I haven't had the time to meet up with them to receive it just yet. The gift is mine. It belongs to me. All I got to do is show up and actually receive what already has my name on it. And I need someone who believes that your father has a blessing with your name on it to jump up real quick one more time and give him thanks for what is already yours. I'm not talking about the stuff that you don't know about. I'm talking about some stuff that he already told you belongs to you. Why don't you open up your mouth and give him real thanks for what's not yet in my hands, but I know when I show up to the place. When I show up to the place, I know that he's got something with my name on it because he's already declared that it's harvest time. Look at somebody one more time and tell them it's harvest time. It's harvest time. It's harvest time. The book of Amos, it's full of incredibly ridiculously strong warnings to God's people, to the children of Israel. In their prosperity, the children of Israel forgot about God. They did what they desired, and as they've done many times over, they went after false gods and had given themselves over to pagan traditions and such. But in the midst of all of that, God was consistent. They forgot about God, but God didn't forget about them. Oh man, I wish I had a people who actually understood your place in that story. How many times have we forgotten about God, but yet we saw God still blessed us. He still took care of us. He still supplied for us. He still watched over us. I forgot about you, but you have never forgotten about me. Numbers, the 23rd chapter, verse 19, it says, God is not man that he should lie, or a son of man that he should change his mind.
Has he said it and will he not do it? Or has he spoken and will he not fulfill it? We spoke about this in Bible class in the Q&A portion, but there are some conditional promises and there are some unconditional promises. And so when God decrees a thing concerning you, when God says that he's going to do something for you without terms and without conditions, not even you can stop the hand of God concerning that thing. Oh, that's good news for some of us who keep bumping in the way and keep living lives that go in and out. I know it's not okay. I'll talk to this side of the room. I wish I had a few people who would testify that I haven't always done the thing that he told me to do. I didn't dot all the I's. I didn't cross all the T's, but he blessed me anyway. Come on, he kept his promise when I was wayward. He kept his promise when I was unfaithful. He still proved himself to be faithful. As he spoke over Abraham, he speaks over you. Hebrews, the 6th chapter, verse 14. He says, indeed, I will greatly bless you, and I will greatly multiply you. I need to say it for somebody who missed it. He says, indeed, I will greatly bless you and I will greatly multiply you. It's the promise that's over your life. Look at somebody and say, I know he's going to bless you. Come on, look at them like they need that word and say, I know he's going to bless you. Come on, I know that you're not perfect, but he's still going to bless you. How do I know? Because he made a promise to Abraham that in him all the nations, oh God, the nations of the earth would be blessed. And I understand that I'm a descendant of Abraham. And I understand that Abraham through Jesus, come on, he came and he fulfilled the promise. So I have no choice but to be blessed. Look at somebody and say, you got no choice but to be blessed. Come on, tell them, look at you with your blessed self. Looking like you look. Yeah, that's it right there. That's how you receive it. That's how you receive it. That's how you receive it. I know I'm blessed. I know I'm blessed. I know I'm blessed. I'm stirred. I'm stirred. I wish we had about 30 people who would bless him with it. The Bible says, rejoice with them that rejoice. I said the Bible said it. I didn't say it. It said rejoice with them. Rejoice and be exceeding glad. Somebody shout, thank God we're blessed. Oh, Jesus. So God sends prophets. He sent prophets like Amos to turn the people back. God does not abandon his people even when they've abandoned him. But he does send word to correct the people. He sent hard and harsh word in this instance to correct the people. The word was so strong that it could have been easy for the children of Israel to think that all hope was gone. It would have been easy at that point to just throw in the towel because it would seem that they were too far gone. Some of you, the devil wanted you to believe that you were just too far gone, but can you stand to be blessed? So the Lord, at the end of the book of Amos, he sends a message at the end that ends on a high note. And this could almost seem to be contradictory in light of Amos's prophecies of destruction. However, hope in the midst of despair is and should be a common prophetic stance. I want to say that again.
Hope in the midst of despair is and should be a common prophetic stance. If the prophet is only speaking doom and gloom without any hope of redemption or change, we have a problem. Trying to help you. Because if he or she is acting as an oracle of God, then they also carry the heart of God. And so they speak not from the perspective of man's problems, but from the perspective of God's eternal plan. And so the word comes to course correct and to remind us of the truth of God and the hope that we have in God. And even in correction, it leads to realignment, not just destruction. I'm trying to help you evaluate some of these prophetic words. And so Amos ends this book with the words, God, the days are coming. Oh, God. The days are coming. Look at somebody. Y'all going to be prophets today. Look at somebody and say, neighbor, the days are coming. Look at somebody else and tell them, neighbor, the days are coming. I want to change it a little bit. I want to say it the way that Jesus said it in Samaria. He said, the time is coming, and now is. He said, the time is coming, and now is. For some of us, the days are on the way, but there are others in this room that you've been sensing a now from God. You've been sensing a now from God, and I've been sent by God to confirm that the time is now. Look at somebody and say, the time is now. You've already sown. The time is now. You've already toiled. The time is now. You've already worked what you got. The time is now. You've already been a good steward. The time is now. If that's you, can you just open up your mouth and give God praise for a now season? Now, it ain't for everybody. But I wish you would just grab hold of your word if it's yours. Only if it's yours. It's a now season. I had you talk to everybody else, but can you touch yourself and say it's a now season? Oh God, there was a time that we had to celebrate the next season. There was a time that we were looking forward to what he had in store for us. But the old season has passed. We are in the now season. And it's harvest time now. It's reaping season now. Somebody just shout now. And then open up your mouth and bless him. Because the season changed. Come on, bless him, because seasons change. Seasons change. Seasons. Look at somebody and say, can you celebrate with me? I just found out that my season changed. Look at somebody else and say, can you celebrate with me? I just found out that my season changed. It just changed. I didn't say it's changing. I said it has changed. The sons of Issachar just don't tell you what it's going to be. They have the ability to tell you what time it is right now. Look at somebody and say, what time is it? If they didn't say it's harvest time, move. They don't know what season they're in. What time? Oh. The days are coming. The days are coming, declares the Lord, when the reaper will be overtaken by the plowman, and the planter by the one treading grapes. New wine will drip from the mountains and flow from all the hills. When God releases blessing and restoration, fruit comes easily and abundantly. I'll say it again. When he releases blessing and restoration, fruit comes easily and abundantly. Normally, the plowman and the reaper, they work separately. Not only do they work separately, but their efforts are separated by months in between. But in this season of blessing and restoration, those normally separated seasons are bumping into each other. The crops were so big that the plowman and the reaper didn't have the time to let the other one finish their work. So I prophesy in accordance to Amos, the 9th chapter, that in this season you will see a quick work. Somebody shout a quick work. Somebody shout a quick work. What took months and years will happen in days and weeks. I said what took months and years will happen in days and weeks, saith the Lord of hosts. Somebody shout, he said it, and I believe it. Already in this month, I have received testimony after testimony of people who joined either the Try God Challenge or the Generosity Challenge. I see you waving. And days later, they're receiving unexpected checks in the mail. They're receiving salary increases on their jobs. They're being offered new positions. Somebody shout, it's a quick work. Nah, shout it like it's yours. It's a quick work. John the 4th chapter verse 35 says, you know the saying, 4 months between planting and harvest. This is Jesus. He said, but I say, wake up and look around. The fields are already ripe for harvest. It's harvest time, and in the midst of this harvest time, he's also changing and shifting your language and your expectation that it would align with the quick work that he's already done. Somebody shout yes. Not only will it be a quick work, but it will be a unified work. The plowman and the reaper had to work together for the harvest. They didn't have time for separation. They could only do this if they worked together. Let me say this. In the last season, everything that could be shaken was shaken so that we could strengthen what remains. Somebody shout, strengthen what remains. The Lord told me to tell you that this was not a work of Satan. He told it to me first. This was not a work of the enemy. This was a work of the Lord. The shaking was to rightly identify what was a part of his kingdom and what was not. Because we, somebody shout we, are a part of a kingdom that cannot be shaken. It's not just a song, it's Bible. We're a part of a kingdom that cannot be shaken. So here's some instruction. Whatever fell off, leave it off. Look at somebody and say, he said what he said. Whatever fell off, the Lord said, leave it off, because only what is connected to the vine has permission to grow. And you have permission to keep moving forward. Look at somebody and say, keep moving forward. We also see that when God releases blessing and restoration, fruit comes from unexpected places. Look at somebody and say, it's coming from an unexpected place. Let me show it to you in the scripture. Normally, Grapevines don't grow well on mountains or high hills. But in the day of Israel's restoration, even the mountains shall drip with sweet wine, and all the hills shall flow with it. Do not look for the blessings to come from your usual wells. There are new wells, there are new places, there are new people that the Lord is going to cause to bless you and to pour into you. I said there's some new wells. There's some, don't get stuck, Isaac, there's a new well. Rehoboth was one moment, but there's another well. Look at somebody and say, dig another well. He's going to cause some people to pour into you. I even see people who do not know God being compelled to give to those who do know God. And it is not just an act of their will, but it is the prompting of the Lord that is causing them to bless you. I see people being released from debt through unexpected means. I'm giving you what he said. And this is not just financial debt, but even the feeling of being indebted to others. You wouldn't walk away and cancel the debt yourself, so the Lord is causing them to just give up and wipe the slate clean so that you can finally move on with your life, because he's got a work for you to do, and you've been stuck too long in what was when I'm doing a now thing. And it will happen suddenly, and it will happen unexpectedly. It's going to happen quickly. I speak debt cancellation in every sense of the word. No more bondage, no more enslavement to what was. The children of God are free because of God. The children of God are free because of God. A new season with new opportunities. Even the mountains are dripping with wine. Oh. Even the mountains are dripping with wine. The high places, the things that seem to be out of reach, the Lord said they're now flowing to you. Look at somebody and say, it's flowing to you. It's flowing to you. I speak to the dreams and the visions of the people of God, what seemed to be unattainable and what seemed to be too high, what seemed to be unrealistic and almost like a fantasy. The Lord said, I'm bringing it down to you. You won't even have to climb for it. It's just flowing to you. I see new contracts flowing to you. I see new clients just flowing to you. I see new covenants just flowing to you. Stand still and let it flow to you. Look at somebody and say, it's time to live in the flow. Come on, it was just a cute saying, but we spoke it over your life 7 years ago. Before some of you even got in this space, we had already declared that this was the place that the blessings and the favor of the Lord would flow. Look at somebody and say, well, then let it flow. Let it flow. Some of y'all been working too hard. You didn't got to work that hard. The blessing is just going to flow to you. I didn't say don't work. I said you don't have to work that hard. When God releases blessing and restoration, fruit comes with great quality. Somebody shout quality. Amos looked forward to the day when the wine that came abundantly and from unexpected places would be sweet wine. I believe that the Lord is he's not just speaking to increase, but he is speaking to the quality of the increase. Because you can have more of the same thing. You can have more of the subpar. You can have more of the substandard. But the Lord says, I am not just increasing in volume or in quantity, but I am increasing in quality. Somebody shout quality. All right, this might be hard for some people. This is particularly important for the children of God, and more specifically, those who are considered to be minorities, because the word out there about us and our products is that our products and our services are inferior. Hello? Because black owned in many cases means that you have to settle for a lesser product. We're not going to tell the truth. We've got to settle for a lesser quality. You done ran out of oxtail again. You act like y'all don't be mad. You never got what's on the menu. It's true. So our black and brown businesses are not producing as they should. Churches don't produce in excellence. They produce substandard products because they allow anybody who wants to the chance to do it. No. Look at somebody and shout, no. No more. There is a spirit of excellence that is attached to what the Lord is doing. And what comes out as a result is like a sweet wine. It will not be bitter wine because we gave you a chance when you weren't ready. Our products, our business, and yes, even our churches will produce on a greater level than what is produced by the world. The world will seek after kingdom citizens because they know that our wine is sweeter. My friend Bishop Hassel would say, my merchandise is good. Look at somebody and say, my merchandise is good. These are the days when the Proverbs 31 woman won't just be a t-shirt or a coffee mug, but we'll see what was written. Because sis was a wife, she was a mother, she was an entrepreneur, and she was an influencer. She wasn't a slogan without fruit. This is the season of fruit. Look at somebody and say, we're going to be fruitful. Don't claim what you're not. I'm almost done. I'm about to be done. I'm about to be done. When God releases blessing and restoration, the work is blessed, but it is still work. Where's the shout? Where's the shout there? It's still work. Look at somebody and say, it's still work. The plowman, the reaper, the treader of grapes, and the one who sows seed still had their work to do. Look at somebody and say, we got work to do. God doesn't just do it all for them. But under God's blessing and restoration, the work is done with energy and it's done with joy. The plowman doesn't just wait around, he gets busy even if it starts bumping into the reaper. These seasons of unexpected blessing do not mean that we sit idly on our hands and do nothing. There is still work for the plowman and the reaper. There is still work for the planter and the treader of grapes, but it is a blessed work. Somebody shout, it's a blessed work. It's not a fruitless work. It will yield a harvest. It will yield a harvest, God. Okay. It will yield a harvest. I feel like I'm like breaking through something in somebody. It will yield a harvest. You got to do a little work, but it will yield a harvest. Say it to somebody. It will yield a harvest. It'll work if you work it. It will yield. It will yield a harvest. I'm done. Y'all stand. I need to release this final word. This is specific to you, Fresh Start. I need to release this final word to you, Fresh Start, and then I'm going to take my seat. I can't make this stuff up. This year, we celebrated our church anniversary on a day that we should not have celebrated it. It was a week late. We celebrated on December 18th. Somebody shout December 18th. Shout it again, December 18th. And we received this crazy, incredible deposit from the Lord through Apostle Gabadia, and really all week long, starting with Apostle Jennings. I hope that you were here or that you heard the word. And I knew without question that something shifted in the spirit realm. I knew without question that something, I want to say this about shifts, by the way. Some of you only accept shifts from bad to good, but there are some shifts that are just from good to better. Some shifts are just from, so we were in a good place, but there's better. Somebody shout, there's better. And so I knew something had shifted in the spirit realm. Something had broke that weekend, and we discussed it greatly amongst the leadership. And so as I was receiving instruction about today's word, the Lord brought me to a passage of scripture, and I know without question it was him, and that is the word that he wants me to leave with you today. Haggai, the 2nd chapter, verse 19 in the NLT version, it says this. Think about the 18th day of December, the day when the foundation of the Lord's temple was laid. Think carefully. I am giving you a promise now while the seed is still in the barn. You have not yet harvested your grain, and your grapevines, fig trees, pomegranates, and olive trees have not yet produced their crops. But from this day onward, I will bless you. Fresh start. The Lord made us a promise on December 18th of 2022 that from this day forward, I will bless you. I wish I had somebody who actually received the fullness of the word that the Lord has just given to us. He said your seed is still in the barn. You ain't even scattered it yet. There's some trees that still haven't sprouted yet. But despite all of that, I am going to bless you. I don't know who needs to hear it. Some of you have been cursing yourself. It ain't the enemy. It's what you've been speaking over yourself. But there's a better word that's over you. And the Lord said, I am going to bless you. I am going to bless you. Some of you have been living in depression. You've been living in fear. But the Lord said, still, I am going to bless you. I'm about to prove who I am to you. I'm going to prove to you that I'm the Lord of hosts. I'm going to prove to you that when I open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, it overtakes you. It drowns you. Look at somebody and say, I'm drowning in blessings. Come on, I'm drowning in blessings. Yeah. Look at somebody else and say, now swim. Come on, tell them swim. Swim in it. Swim in it. I'm teaching you how to live in a space you never dwelled before. Learn how to swim in it. Come on, testify to 3 people. And tell them it's going to be a quick work. Tell them look for it. Look for it. Look for it. Some of you need to pick back up what you put down years ago. Because it's the season and it's the time. It wasn't the time then. But the Lord says now is time. Look at somebody and say now is time. Now is the acceptable time. Come on, somebody open your mouth with thanksgiving and give him glory for the season we're in right now. And I'm going to say it because he said it. You better know what you're connected to. Some blessings come through connection. I said some blessings come through connection. You better know what you're connected to. And if it's happening in this house, I said if it's happening in this house, somebody shout your address. Put your address in the air. Come on. Prophetically, put your address in the air. Oh, I heard the Lord say some of you need to make up an address because where you've been ain't where you're going to stay. Come on, shout something. 3 Elm Street. Come on, East Chester, New York. Come on, put something in the air because there's a house that's waiting for you. There's an apartment waiting for you. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, and I will not go into debt for it either. The debt was already canceled. I said the debt was already canceled. So this time, I'm going debt-free. I'm going into what I can afford because he gave me the resource. He gave it to me. He gave it to me. He gave. In the spirit, I just saw some doors opening that was stuck. Some of you have been pushing on some doors and they haven't been opened. But the Lord said, go back to the same door
and try again. It just wasn't time yet. It just wasn't time yet. This is the way he just gave it to me. If I go to the mall after hours, the door that would have opened during business hours, no matter how many times I step towards it, it's not going to open because we're closed right now. The Lord said the time changed and we're open for business now. So you were stepping in the wrong time. You were stepping in the wrong season. But it's my time and it's my season. It's my time and it's my season. It's my time and it's my season. Step again. Step again. Some of you need to start walking right now. I saw you. Some of you need to start walking now. Walk with purpose, though. Walk with purpose. Walk with purpose. Walk with purpose. I know what I'm stepping into. Because he told me. This is for the people with promise. This is for the people with promise on your life. This is for the people with promise. I know what I'm stepping into. I said, I know what I'm stepping into. I'm trying to tell you, some of y'all, obedience is better than sacrifice. Some of y'all went to the left and went to the right. That means you're stuck in the same place. Just saying, you're prophesying with your body. You're prophesying with your body. You did that to appease me. But I got mine. Already got mine. This is about you and God. If you can't do something as simple as walk, how you gonna read? I'm gone. I'm done. If you can't do something as simple as walk, how you gonna read, bro? Whatever the Lord says do, whatever he says do, I'ma do, because I know the end is my blessing. I know at the end of my obedience is my blessing. I know at the end of my yes is my blessing. So disrupt me, God. Disrupt my program. Disrupt my agenda. Disrupt my thinking. Disrupt my fear. Disrupt. Before any seed becomes a plant, it first has to disrupt the ground. I said before any seed becomes a plant, the first thing it does, it disrupts the ground. There's gotta be a disruption before there's growth. I said there's gotta be a disruption before there's growth. And some of you missed it in the last season, but that's okay. It was a season of disruption. It wasn't to destroy you. What was growing was breaking through the hard thing. It was breaking through the hard thing. I'm telling you. And the Lord said, even now, some of you are going to have to change your perspective and your language. Because you've been scattering seed with your mouth. Blessings and curses cannot proceed from the same mouth. So I changed my speech. I know what I said last week. Forget that. I'm changing. Look at somebody and say, I'm changing. I'm changing. Come on, tell them I'm changing. I know I complained about it last week. I know I talked to you about that thing last week. I was wrong. God is right. I'm changing. It's changing. I'm trying to set you free. I promise if you change your language, you'll change your crop. If you change your language, you change your crop. Listen, only one thing to do. Open up your mouth and bless him for what you know is yours. I'm gone. Touch 3 people and say, it's yours, it's yours. Tell them it's yours. I only know because we're connected to the same vine. You can't get a different crop on the same vine. You can't get a different crop on the same vine. So if my crop looks different than yours, we're not on the same vine. There will be fruit. There will be, I gotta go. There will be fruit. There will be fruit. There will be fruit. There will. And let me say this, for every tither and for everybody trying God, this is the reason why we don't stop in January. Because for the tither, that's not a season, that's my life. I want to say it again. For the tither, that's not my season, that's my life. Look at somebody and say, I know I got 10% in the ground. So I live in abundance. Look at somebody and say, I live in abundance. I don't visit abundance, I live in abundance. Everybody who lives in abundance, just open up your mouth one more time and shout unto God real strong. I was trying to see who was gonna let go. I was trying to see who was gonna let go. I was trying to see who was gonna let go. Look at somebody and say, I got more in me, because he's got more in him. Look at somebody and say, I got more in me, because he's got more in him. One more time, shout unto God with everything that you got. Everything, 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 everything. I give you more. I give you more. I give you more. I give you more. Listen, the Lord told me to release Pastor Naomi to pray into this moment that you would not miss the moment that the Lord has already assigned to you. Tell somebody, I don't want to miss my moment. Tell them like you desperate, I don't want to miss. I can't afford to miss the moment that the Lord has given me. Lift your hands up real quick. Come on, lift your hands.